This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
It is April, at last, the month of renewal and growth for nature and for your business. Welcome to Business, Equity, and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Each week we talk to business professionals, community leaders, our own team of experts. They all then share their experiences with you to help you build and grow your own successful business. We have 7 segments every week to help you get started, get access to capital, run a business day to day, stay on top of the week in business, guide you through accounting and bookkeeping, focus on a specific industry, and inspire with a success story. We're here every Sunday morning on Wish TV and streaming on wishtv.com. You can see our content then anytime of any day on BE&O.com. Our site grows every week with new stories and resources. And when you're there, sign up for our podcast. Listen to us whenever works for you. And we encourage you to sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. Let's get to the business of business here on Business, Equity, and Opportunity. We look at how assistive technology could make your shop more inclusive. We meet artists who feel a need for speed. Ty Shea is back to talk accounting and bookkeeping. Spring is the busy season for trade workers, and we tell a very secure success story. Getting started, we visit a place that promises to bring together entrepreneurs, academics, startups, corporations, and community members. It is 16 Tech in Indianapolis.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. Getting started.
Emily Krueger is president and CEO of 16 Tech Community Corporation, a facility dedicated to collaboration and creative problem solving.
We're creating a clear place for innovators and entrepreneurs in our community to come, a destination for them that's got the resources that they need, whether that be facilities or programs, in order to help them scale and grow their businesses. Ultimately, we're focused on innovation-driven enterprises, so we look really closely to partner and provide resources, especially to support the tech enablement of the life sciences and advanced manufacturing, but we still have resources that are available for every type of entrepreneur. So 16 Tech is a great place to start your journey if you're looking for an asset or a resource to help your business. Innovation districts are meant to support companies of a variety of different stages of growth. And so we have startups at 16 Tech, we have corporate innovation teams, we have university partners, we also have programming and service partners that are providing the various resources, and a network of social impact groups as well. So we really believe that it's the mix of these groups that is key towards the culture that we're creating here, and also towards the cross-cultural, cross-industry networks that we're creating. We're really looking to focus though on that innovation-driven enterprise. So companies that require some place-based component of their innovation life cycle, whether that be life sciences, wet labs, or companies that are involved in the hard tech industry and are looking for resources to help them prototype products, etc. 16 Tech has been open for just about 2 years right now, and today we have roughly 90 companies across a variety of industries. And what's most exciting is when those connections get made. So someone who might be working at our EMC Squared facility, connecting with someone at Connexus, and someone who's working in our makerspace here at 16 Tech. So our team is focused on trying to create those connections and make it as easy as possible for people to know when they're working on shared problems or they have resources that they might be able to leverage. But it happens serendipitously on a daily basis in line at our coffee shop or at lunch in the AMP as well. And we also have a variety of different types of networking events, district engagement opportunities, happy hours, and those can be geared around a particular subject and topic, like data analytics that might bring people together around a shared problem. They can also just be to get to know people who are here in the district. The AMP stands for the Artisan Marketplace and Food Hall. It is the primary source of amenities in the 16 Tech Innovation District. We We have over 20 different food and retail options that are available. 100% of them are independent, locally owned. 65% are female and minority owned and operated businesses, and 50% are new business concepts. So it truly is a place if someone wants to come and experience entrepreneurship in our food industry and culture, this is the place to come. And it is open to the general public. It also provides the food and fuel for all the entrepreneurs and innovators who are working in Indianapolis. So it's a key part of what keeps people coming together throughout the course of the day. And it's also a great place for people to come if they want to first experience what is 16 Tech and learn about some of the other resources that are here. It's definitely a place to start. One of the most surprising things to me right now is how much R&D is also distributed. And there's been so much conversation in the last couple years about the future of work. And what I still see on a daily basis is the clear need for places where talent can gather and the variety of resources that are needed to support innovators and entrepreneurs of all types. And so while it's true that so much of work can be done remotely and can be distributed, there are still very clear reasons to bring people together on a daily basis. Sometimes that's because the need to connect and collaborate requires physical assets like labs, etc. But it's also to bring people together. And so for me, the exciting thing is seeing how space truly still does make a difference. And then also as we think about what the opportunities are, especially because R&D has become distributed, we have companies that are locating at 16 Tech from out of state to use the labs here. So people use labs just like they might go to a gym membership, which really creates a lot of interesting applications and opportunities as well. One of the things that distinguishes 16 Tech, and it can't be replicated, is our geography. We're 20 minutes from the airport. We're right across the creek from IU Indianapolis and Purdue in Indianapolis, as well as the talent and the faculty that are at both of those institutions. And so 16 Tech, by virtue of its geography, really is a front door to the broader Indiana innovation ecosystem. And I think that's something that distinguishes us from other spaces as well. 16 Tech's really just getting started. We have 3 buildings that are open today, but we have 10 additional development parcels. Our first residential project will break ground later this spring, and then we have a bridge that's under construction right now, which will cross Fall Creek and create greater connectivity to the downtown area. We've had to spend a lot of time on the public infrastructure. This area is the site of the city's water infrastructure. But as we move forward, it's going to be less about a focus on roads and utilities and more about new buildings that we're bringing to the market that have a variety of spaces that support innovation and entrepreneurship in our community, whether that be through wet labs or hard tech or sports tech. We're really excited, and 16 Tech will continue to grow and be a vibrant place for the next 10 years.
Getting started, made possible by the Indiana Economic Development Corporation.
If 16 Tech sounds intriguing, maybe can help you get started, visit us at beoshow.com. If you'd like to ask us a question, send it to us, beo@wishtv.com. Still to come, we look at this week in business. First, though, how you can help make your own business more inclusive. That's on the other side of this break. You're watching Business Equity and Opportunities. It is time on Business Equity and Opportunities when we talk about accessing capital. Easterseals Crossroads is Central Indiana's leader for disability services. The group's been meeting the needs of people with disabilities for more than 85 years. In that effort, it can be a resource for accessing capital for businesses looking to make workspaces more accessible.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Josh Anderson is the manager of clinical assistive technology for Easterseals Crossroads and its INDATA Project, providing information on financial resources and assistive tech advice for employers, helping them create the best possible inclusive work environments.
Today we are at the Assistive Technology Lab at Easterseals Crossroads. Here at Easterseals Crossroads, we provide a whole myriad of services to individuals with disabilities to help them live, work, play, and really just integrate into the community a little bit more. And here in the Assistive Technology program, we provide different kinds of supports to individuals and businesses just to make everything a little bit more accessible by implementing technology. Well, first of all, I guess they need to think about making their place and their business accessible. And that's not just maybe having a ramp to the door, but also making sure their website, their application process, and that all these things are accessible, not just to their customers, but also to their employees. Individuals with disabilities make up about 25% of the population. So if you're leaving them out of your applicant pool, you're really having a hard time maybe finding the best people for the job. But they need to think about how people actually access things. So that can be how they access technology or just other things they might need on the job. So here in the INDATA Project and our clinical assistive technology program, we have all kinds of different devices that folks can try out, can borrow, and can actually see in action to see how individuals with disabilities would access those things. So here at the INDATA Project, we do have a demonstration and loan program. So if individuals maybe have a disability and have started a new job, or sometimes we have acquired disabilities that they may need an accommodation, folks can come in and borrow equipment just like you would at a normal library. Try it out, see if it works, and see if maybe it's something that can meet that need. We also have other programs here that can help. We do have a clinical assistive technology program that can provide evaluations, recommendations, and training on equipment. If folks are looking for financial assistance to be able to do that, there's a couple of different programs. So the state has vocational rehabilitation, which is through the FSSA, and they help individuals with disabilities find employment, so they can sometimes help with some of those costs. There's also AskJan.org, which is the Job Accommodation Network. They can find different grants, different programs, and also different accommodations by accessing that. Also, their local ADA office is another place to really check. Sometimes there's grants, federal programs, and other things that can either help offset the cost or sometimes even help pay for those kinds of things. Their local ADA office will have not just what the laws are, but also some best practices, some other information, and I believe they can even have folks kind of come out and check some of those things at their business. We've probably made accommodations for your workforce before, or for other folks. We all do it all the time, whether it's listening to a text message in the car, or perhaps using our voice to text. You're actually using assistive technology. You're using things that individuals with disabilities use every day. So next I'd like to kind of show you just some of the workspaces and some of the tools that an individual with a disability might use to be able to do their job. So as we look at different stuff that can really help someone on the job, it's really easy to go to the kind of the high-tech things, but it's not always the high-tech stuff that will help someone on the job. Sometimes it's as easy as just providing some paper with bigger lines. If I have a visual impairment, I may have a lot easier time seeing this, reading my notes on it, and everything else. The big fat Sharpie is another great thing, because as I write with it, it's going to be a lot bigger, a lot easier to access and to be able to do my job. Also, for individuals with cognitive impairments, sometimes just having a list of my job duties, of the things that I need to do in a day. If you really think about all the job duties you have to complete in a day, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So having a list of them that I can check off and really keep and know my whole process. For individuals who are blind or visually impaired, Braille sometimes is just a great accommodation, and we'll talk about that over there, but Braille labelers, pretty simple stuff. I think my dad had one of these and labeled everything from the 1970s I still have in my home. It wasn't Braille, but those things do stay, and it can be very helpful. If I'm blind or visually impaired, I can get Braille output from my computer. So I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm actually having Braille come up on these displays. Then I can use my keyboards as I normally would. Then if I have another visual impairment, I just need larger keys or perhaps high contrast, those can come out as well. Illness, injury, all other kinds of things can leave folks where they're mostly doing everything one-handed. There's different keyboards that I can access with just one hand. Then I also want to show you kind of what a workstation could look like. So if we actually look at this workstation, it's not much different than probably the desk that you may have at work, but it's just got a few little modifications. First of all, the entire desk does move, so I can move up and down the different parts. I can move up and down the back or the front just to get it to the right level of where I need. So if I'm an individual in a wheelchair and I need access, I can bring it up so that I can actually roll up there and then maybe bring it down so that I can be able to access the things that I need. You can see on the screen, hopefully, that it's a little bit larger. So this is magnification software. So if I have a visual impairment, I can make everything a whole lot bigger, as well as change the size of the pointer, because let's not lie, we all lose that darn pointer sometimes when we're on there. So they're very, very small kind of changes that we're making to the environment, but it can really open up access to anyone with or without a disability.
If you'd like to learn more about the INDATA Project, look for a link on our website. It's beoshow.com. Coming up later, accounting and bookkeeping and the return of the CFO of our operation, Ty Shea, to see if you should have one as well. Up next, though, time's running short to enter the annual Art of Speed exhibition. We have it this week in business when we return. Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities, and this week in business, Gallery 42 is accepting submissions for its second Art of Speed juried exhibition. Showcases a wide range of works of art encompassing the spirit of auto racing and the month of May. You have one more week to make a submission. It's just one of the events happening this week in business.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This week in business.
Mary Morgan is the director of Gallery 42, located in downtown Indianapolis. With the month of May just around the corner, they feel the need for speed.
You're at Gallery 42. We're right downtown, 42 East Washington Street, and we are located in the oldest remaining standing building in Indianapolis. So we have a lot of history in this building, 4 floors, and a beautiful art gallery. It's been a lot of things throughout the years, dating back to 1830s, so it's been many, many things, but the previous owners of the gallery actually saved the building. It was crumbling, and they came in and renovated the whole building, saved it, and brought it back to life. So what you see today was the vision of the previous owners, Jim and Linda Hunter. And then they opened it up as an art gallery, as Gallery 42, and it operated for a few years. And then during COVID, they closed down, and it sat empty for a few years before the current owner picked it up, and Bill Kessler is the current owner, and we've had it for about a year now. The art business is a wonderful, beautiful, challenging, creative business. It's a passion business for sure, but it's also can be a lucrative business. Artwork is an investment and a luxury. So people purchase artwork for lots of different reasons, whether they want to have a beautiful piece in their home, they just connect with the artist and what the image looks like. And then there is certainly investment art out there that will retain value and can be valuable for years to come. So working with the artist is one of the best part of working in a gallery. They come in and they bring their creativity and their passion and their views, and they bring it to life in a way that not everyone can do. And so every day I get to work with creative people and look at beautiful things, and then work with collectors who are looking to put those things in their home or their businesses and put them together. So that's another fun thing is every artist brings their own unique thing to the table, and so when you can bring a collector and an artist together, it's the perfect marriage. We launched the Art of Speed last year. It's a juried art show. So what that means is artists can submit their artwork for consideration, and then it goes in front of a jury, and we vote upon who's going to make it into the show. So the opportunities are vast for our artists. Last year we had artists that have been established for many years and have a great following, all the way to kids still in college. So it allows some artists to get recognition in a gallery, and then hopefully sell pieces so they can find a forever home too. It's important that you not only bring your talent to the table so you have something to offer, but also a business mind. And if you're creating something wonderful and beautiful, unless people know about it and how to find it, it's not going anywhere and you won't be able to sell anything. So the most successful artists right now in the market are marketing themselves. So not only are they producing amazing pieces, but they are making sure that they are active on social media, their websites are robust, and they are out in the market, they are networking, they are meeting people, they are going to gallery shows, and they're showing up when they're in the gallery. No one can sell artwork better than the artist. So even though I'm here and I can talk about everything I have on the wall, an artist is going to be able to sell it better than I ever could because they're passionate about it. So it is important that they're able to present themselves as well. And when we put shows together, I do look at how active an artist is on all levels because it's a two-way street. I'm going to promote you and we're going to put your work out there and we're going to put a force behind it to let people know that it's here, and we expect the same of artists that we work with. It's a new, I don't know if it's actually new, but the way that the world is right now, the way we receive information, you've got to get on board with that. I love the reaction that we receive when people walk in this gallery. It's unique, it's a gorgeous space, and it has a lot of history. So I really enjoy people coming in and being overwhelmed by the things they find here, and they're surprised. We have works here that we're very fortunate to even have in the state, let alone right here, and people can come in and see it. We have a permanent piece by Frederick Hart that's on downstairs that is a smaller version of what you'll find at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. And so it's nice that people can come in and experience those things. It brings me a lot of joy to talk about the building, to talk about the artwork that's here, and then working with the artist is just an absolute, it's a bonus. They're creative and fun, and they just bring a lot of joy, to every day that I come in here. But definitely having people walk in and walk around and talk about everything is really exciting for me.
This Week in Business is made possible by InnoPower.
Coming up later, how health equity affects running your business day to day. Before that, CFO Ty Shea has accounting and bookkeeping tips. More business equity and opportunities is in roughly 95 seconds.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
On Business Equity and Opportunities, we always talk accounting and bookkeeping, and sometimes our segments overlap. This is a bit about access to capital in the accounting and bookkeeping world. Ty Shea is the Chief Financial Officer at Circle City Broadcasting and certainly one of our frequent guests and advisors on what we do here. Ty, this idea of funding sources, we've talked a lot about all the different opportunities and options. You've got your conventional through banks and savings and loans, and you've got grant programs. In some cases, we're talking small businesses, we're talking out of your garage or basement. Family and friends can be one as well, or should they be? I guess, as we get into specifics in a minute, what's your general thought when somebody says, yeah, I'm thinking about borrowing that money from my brother?
It all comes down to the individual people involved and the individual situations involved, but both parties should always go in with eyes wide open. I've seen, both in my time as a public accountant, but also, just in certain dealings that, when you're talking money, we're talking about personal, right? And sometimes I've noticed that money can be thicker than blood when it comes to business dealings. And so I've seen relationships and family relationships split and sour when businesses go south. And I think, when you're talking with those folks, there just has to be an understanding that there is a risk involved. When you are investing in a company, there's always that potential. I would stress always having a written agreement, even if it is with a family member, about how the funds will be used, repaid, etc. Any ownership stake that could be gained by a family member by investing in the company. I think that's very important. Have those things at the outset, right? Because when you enter into the agreement, you're always bound by enthusiasm at the time, right? Otherwise, no one would enter into the agreement. But if and when that worst case scenario happens, there should be a natural, out and set of circumstances and plans that should play out as things unfold.
And to underscore that, maybe if you were doing business with a bank or a lender, or even applying for a grant and receiving that, we talk paperwork here. It's not a handshake and I understand you and you understand me. There'd be a thick stack of paper that you both could go back to and say, this is exactly the terms we're operating under.
Yeah, it's funny how that level of understanding always gets murkier when things go south 3 years down the road, right? And that one party understood it this way, the other party understood it that way. Yes, there should absolutely be a paper trail. The other thing to note about family and friends financing, angel investors like that, is you will oftentimes kind of go to the back of the line when it comes to getting repaid in the instance of liquidation, something like that. Your primary lender, your bank, will have first position, and oftentimes other vendors or whatnot will be in front of you as well. And so it's also important to know, where, if you're investing, family members investing in a business, where they stand in the pecking order when, if assets need to be liquidated.
And to that end as well, is there any obligation to your other funding sources, to your other investors, to your bank, your other lending institutions, to know where money comes from, or do you have to be transparent about that?
Generally, your lenders will like to know the breakdown of your, whether it's equity or whether it's a receivable that goes on the books, and oftentimes that will show up on your financial statements that you have to submit to your bank. And so, again, it depends on your individual loan agreement, but as we've harped on over and over again, communication on the front end is always better than kind of letting your lender know something on the back end after it's happened, right? That's something you can talk about on the front end and say, hey, look, this is the situation. Any thoughts on this? And so that's generally what I found to be the best policy.
Yeah, talk too much on the front end, have too much paperwork on the front end. That'd be a much better solution than not having enough of either on the back end.
Well,
Ty, we always appreciate your time, especially when it comes to the business of getting into business with family and friends. That's Ty Shea.
Thank you, Scott.
Coming up will be our industry focus on the trades. Springtime is their time. Up next, though, another lesson in running your business day to day. That's when Business Equity and Opportunities return.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. Time to talk running your business day to day. We talk a lot about equity. It's part of our name. But what does it mean to have health equity? We went to a healthcare giant to find out.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
Daryl Lockett is the Director of Health Equity for Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I serve Anthem Indiana Medicaid and the almost 800,000 members as the Director of Health Equity. We begin with the data, and I drill down into the data to get a better understanding of the disparities that exist, the inequities that percolate in the outcomes that we're trying to move, because we have a fundamental belief that each person has an opportunity, and even more so almost a right, to have the best health care that they can possibly have and live a quality of life that they're deserving of. So When we realize that certain communities, certain individuals, or certain geographies experience and interact with healthcare in different ways to see different outcomes, we want to do something about that. We don't think your life expectancy should be determined by your zip code. And we really want to make sure that we're doing all that we can from the managed care perspective to equalize and make equitable the playing field that each individual lives, plays, and enjoys life in Indiana. Fundamentally, we believe that we must be good citizens. It's a part of our corporate and social responsibility to take care of those who live around us. We have been in Indiana for decades. We think of this community as our community. We recognize the need for looking out for our community, our neighbors, the churches, the parishes that exist around us. We think it's the right thing to do. More than a bottom line or business initiative, it is that sort of moral and social imperative that gives us the license to operate in this state. We live next door to, Hoosiers. We go to the grocery store with fellow Hoosiers. We, drive in traffic and avoid potholes with fellow Hoosiers because this is our community. This is our backyard. So, of course, we want to see this state flourish and we want to do well as a business. And I don't think those two ideas are converging in any way, but actually can work together. And when we find these, sort of shared value relationships and understand the true principles of collective impact, we can really grow together. I'm not going to push on any other business the triple bottom line, but I think we should consider the impact that we have on people, the impact that we have on the environment, the impact that we have on communities, the impact that we have on our state, just as we consider the impact of, the profit margin that we, keep a close eye to. We are just as strong as the people and the communities that make us. And I think we must have leaders that remember that and stay ever present of that. And that's, what sort of drew me away from a nonprofit space to go to a for-profit organization. I had to find an organization that I knew shared my personal values. So I encourage that to any individual who's going into business or looking to go into the corporate community for employment. Find someone that shares your values, that considers their version of self is similar to yours and includes individuals outside of just you, that includes the community, that includes the elderly, includes the most vulnerable among us, because truly that's where you're going to find purpose and that's where you're going to really awaken that passion that lives within. I realize now that there are certain inequities that exist in this city, in this state, that I would really like to, gather all of the interested and concerned parties, circle the wagon with all the hearts and minds and bring everyone to the table to truly address, because some of these things do not have to be. We firmly believe that health inequities do not have to be. Robert Wood Johnson Foundation a few years ago, sort of coined the term social determinants of health. But we don't use social determinants of health here. We call them social drivers of health because we believe that we can change the reality that exists for so many individuals. We can come together as a community and change the lived experiences that folks live under day in and day out. And many of these issues are systemic. When we're talking about transportation, when we're talking about access to fresh fruits and vegetables, stable housing, economic security, these are issues that we're concerned about even as a health insurance company, because we realize that it speaks to the strength and the resolve of our state. So each community-based organization, each church, each house of worship, each school understands that they play a part in our collective advancement. And we might live in unique and separate neighborhoods, but with all things that are together for our mutual advancement, we must be like the hands of a glove. We must come together, but all things for our collective and mutual advancement, we must be like the fingers of one hand and working together towards the progress of our city and our state. So for me, it is really, building upon the empathy that we've seen over the past 3 years here in this community, and continuing to understand that each individual may not experience and have access to the same things that each other, member of this community has. But we can do something about that. We can level the playing field, we can change the outcomes, and we can work together to truly strengthen Indiana.
To learn more about health equity and if it can help you run your business day to day a little bit better, visit BEOshow.com. Later, we wrap up our show with very secure success story. Up next, though, our industry focus on the busy season for home repairs. More business equity and opportunities right after this break.
Grow your business with Wish TV's featured business directory. For less than $200 a month, be one of the limited businesses in 30 different categories, benefiting from one of the top visited websites in Indiana and Indiana's only statewide news station. Space is limited. Contact us today.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. Time for Industry Focus. Spring is here. If you're in one of the trade industries, plumbing, HVAC, roofing, you're about to get very busy.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Industry Focus.
Kenneth Hale is the owner of Complete Comfort Heating, Air, and Plumbing in Greenwood. Now that winter's behind us, they're ready to do some heavy lifting.
Complete Comfort has been around. This year will be our 20-year anniversary. We do HVAC and plumbing in home services. The industry is basically, it's if you need your air conditioner repaired or replaced or serviced, or your plumbing checked out, you would call a company like ours and we'd come out and take a look at it and let you know how reliable it is or efficient it is, or even like safety, things like that as well. Spring is very important. Obviously, we've got the allergies coming. We have a lot of answers for allergies. Not only that, we're getting in preparation for the summer season. Our summer in our industry gets very hectic. A lot of people wait until their unit breaks to give us a call, and because of that, all the companies in town get flooded. And what happens really quickly is their schedules get booked out a week, sometimes even 2 weeks before someone can even come take a look. So we recommend getting your unit checked out like a preventative measure. We have annual plans that assist with that, where we come out twice a year, take a look at your unit and let you know if anything looks awry, it's something that you might want to take care of in advance. So that way when the season does come, you're ready to go. So the maintenance agreements, what they do is they give you the twice a year visits. Ours actually includes 3 visits because we include plumbing as well. And what we can do on those visits, sometimes it's just a matter of cleaning some sensors or making some adjustments, which can make your unit run much more efficient and also reliable. Sometimes we find issues or potential issues, and we let you know what those are, and you can choose at that point if you want to take care of it or not. But it's just basically like having your car looked at. If you're going on a long road trip, you're going to want to have a professional look at it and let you know, hey, am I good to go, or do we need to address anything? And that's kind of what the tune-ups are. It's an opportunity to flush out problems before they happen. It's an opportunity to dial your system in for efficiency and things like that. We got hit pretty hard, especially during the COVID era, and part availability became really difficult. Equipment availability also became difficult. We were just like anyone else. Automotive, copper, conductors, microchips, all that stuff affects us as well. We're rebounding from that. We're probably about 80% back to where we were pre-COVID, but now we're also faced with the energy efficiency changes. This year there came a new energy efficiency protocol. So all the units that you're used to getting even last year are now more efficient than they were. And the mandate basically states that manufacturers have to adhere to the new energy efficiency manufacturing guidelines. So with that being said, like your unit that you would have bought last year is now not even available. We, as a proactive measure, we stocked up on some of the previous equipment just for affordability, and also to when things like this roll out, we find that the manufacturers struggle to keep inventory, so we kind of keep it for them. That way we're here to serve the customer when they need us. Yeah, the trades are phenomenal. They saved me. They gave me focus. I was a young man, didn't know what I wanted to do for a living, and I got into the trades, and I've been in it ever since. It's 26 years now. But yeah, we bring in, we're really, our labor force, unfortunately, because of the era of my generation pushing kids to go to college and get that 4-year degree and go into corporate America, we're now feeling the effects of that. The effects are there's not as many tradespeople as what we need. So a lot of companies are adapting the model of grow your own, and that's what we're doing as well. So we're willing to bring people, young women and men in, and teach them a skill that could very quickly put them into 6-figure income even as early as the first or second year. You know, people have hinted around that like Elon Musk is interested in our industry and things like that, but efficiency continues to increase. The environmental aspect of it continues to get safer and safer for our planet. And with that, the equipment is getting easier and easier to work on. It's more of a thinking game instead of a physical game. You know, these systems now, they're almost like a computer, more or less. And so I like that personally because that's easier to train the new incoming folks for how to check out like airflow issues and things like that. So the units communicate with us. We have a certain amount of units that we have on a monitoring program. So if we put in a certain thermostat and we set up your controls properly, we from the office can watch your system performance. We can alert you of a breakdown pending that might come up in the near future. And also we could call you and say, hey, you know, you might want to change your filter and things like that. So the technology is there and it's growing rapidly. We have also systems where a technician can pull up in front of your house and monitor your system from his van. So yeah, it's definitely growing fast. When I first came up, I worked in basically every corner of the business, from construction to refrigeration, and then eventually into residential service. And then when I was in the residential service, I took a great satisfaction in coming to someone's home that was a little distraught, didn't know what was going on or didn't expect that thing to happen that day, and helping them get back on track. Get their system back up and going, get them back on the road, and their kids in school, whatever they've got going on. That's very satisfying to me because you know that can really throw a wrench in your day when you have a plumbing or heating or air conditioning issue. So with that being said, when I first started the business, I thought to myself, okay, I've worked for the bigger companies. I think I can create a company that it can connect with the consumer. We can build relationships and things like that. But it's actually grown from there. From there, I've ended up falling in love with the customer service aspect of it, and I've got my sons now are involved in the business. And I mean, basically, our goal is to take care of as many clients as we can without it becoming a transaction. We want relationships with our clients and their kids and their kids and their kids.
When we return to the world of cybersecurity for this week's success story. This is Business Equity and Opportunity. Stay with us. Lionfish Cybersecurity and its leader have been featured on our show a few times now, stressing the importance of protecting your business from cyber attacks. This time, the top executive traces his path from the military to the business world.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
Jeremy Miller is CEO of Lionfish Cybersecurity.
We decided to start a company early 2000s, pre-Zillow, valuing real estate from the MLS to try to find deals out of there. So we started a development company. We help small to mid-sized businesses get their cybersecurity in check. A lot of businesses have no idea what to do. So we've come up with a way to kind of help funnel them through where they can do upskilling and intern, apprentice, and this may not necessarily always be hired by those particular businesses, but other companies that do services can help them. We started off as a tech training school, so we actually have a Department of Workforce Development accredited school here in the state of Indiana. So we teach CompTIA and early cyber stuff. Well, we were doing this and we figured, well, we really can't make the impact that we want to do just having a school. But we started that because we knew we were going to move into some other things, and most of it was technology, right, with my background in technology. But I know how long it takes. It takes a long time to build something, costs a lot of money. So we were building this in the background, the technology, and an MSSP, we started that so we can actually help service those clients. But really the crux of it is this. Those 31 million businesses, there's not enough cyber professionals to protect them. The ones that are going in and into the field out of college are ending up in mid-sized to enterprise company, and all of those people protect themselves. That leaves all these other businesses unsecure. So from a military background, as a Green Beret, I was looking at that going, holy cow, our whole middle market is at risk right now because they're the most vulnerable. And if we don't learn or figure out how to protect them, we're gonna be in trouble. So while everybody's trying to figure out how to fill those jobs, we're trying to figure out how to help those companies right now as a stopgap, because those jobs need filled too. But to do that, we use a methodology from the Green Berets. So we would go into another country, and in a country we'd go there and help stand up a village to defend itself, or we'd help train the commandos or their army, or sometimes, depending on which side of the world we were and what the government wanted to do, we might even be working with the opposition force to overthrow a government, right? But all along, that methodology is used with a small group of men and women, in some cases, to go and help raise up and be a force multiplier for the fight. And that force multiplying helps us not to send more boots on the ground because we don't have them, because we don't have the money, whatever those reasons are, or we just need a small footprint. Well, look at cybersecurity. There's not enough boots to put on the ground. How are we going to solve this problem now? Well, let's use this same methodology, just do it here at home, right? So we've got multiple players here. We got colleges, we got service providers like a managed service provider, managed security service providers, and we got all these businesses that need help. Nobody's figured out how to do this at scale. And that's what we've done. We've built some technology using compliance frameworks like that a lot of companies need to use. And even companies that don't need that have, it has an element of cyber resilience to it, right? Because these are the same steps you need. These are the same tools that you need, right? Just because you don't need an audit doesn't mean that you don't need good cyber hygiene, because small businesses are the most vulnerable for hackers. So that is really what Lionfish is about, is how can we bring an ecosystem together where everybody plays nice and we actually accomplish this mission of saving some of these all of the companies if we can, right? But not all of them are going to listen, unfortunately, right? Until something bad happens. And we get back to, well, what's really going on in this industry, right? But yeah, that's what Lionfish is about, and that's what we've done.
That's the time we have today for Business Equity and Opportunities. Thanks to everybody who shared a story to offer insights into the twists and turns and triumphs of entrepreneurship. If you need more information about anything you saw today, visit our website, beoshow.com. We have segments from each of the weekly 7 topics from past shows and today as well. Listen to and subscribe to our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast. It's on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Sign up for our newsletter that we update every Tuesday. And if you have questions or a success story of your own to share, send us an email at beo@wishtv.com. We'd love to hear what you have to say, maybe make you part of our broadcast. We're here every Sunday morning. You can also live stream the show through wishtv.com. We'll be back next week with more Business Equity and Opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great Sunday.
Business Equity and Opportunities is made possible by Indiana Economic Development Corporation and InnoPower.